At the age of 12, Nora moved to Canada with her parents. They left their old life in South Korea behind. Nora had to say goodbye to her best friend Hesun, with whom she formed a special bond. Nora's family had a good life in Korea. Both her parents had successful careers, yet they wanted more, something more exciting and challenging. Nora too grew up to be a very ambitious young woman who passionately pursued a career of a writer. We find her again at 24 as an aspiring writer living in New York City, just like in her dreams. This is when she suddenly gets a Facebook message from Hesun, her old childhood friend. Turns out he's been trying to reach her throughout all those 12 years. They start talking and both of them feel the same connection that they had when they were children. They look forward to these video calls. Their conversations certainly feel like the highlights of their days. They have fallen in love, perhaps with the images of themselves they've created in their heads. Yet, it's a beginning of something potentially meaningful. It's only natural that Nora wants to meet him in person to see if her feelings are true. But whenever Nora brings up the idea of him coming to visit her in New York, he seems unenthusiastic and says there's no reason for him to come. The same happens when he invites Nora to South Korea. Their special connection is not enough for them to stop everything and be together. Neither of them is ready to pause their lives and change their plans to have a go at this relationship. So they decide to end this online communication. It was initiated by Nora. She didn't feel comfortable talking to him every day, knowing that they can only meet in real life in a year. For Hesun, it seemed more than okay. It felt like he was happy to just talk to her online and didn't really want to have a real-life relationship with her. She obviously seemed hurt by his lack of enthusiasm to meet in person, but at the same time she too wasn't ready to drop everything and visit him in Korea. Neither of them was ready to take a step towards each other. That was the truth. She did the right thing for herself. She knew she wasn't ready to move back to her homeland for him, and she could see he also wasn't running to move for her. It was simple. Or was it? They both didn't take their online reunion seriously enough to make actual moves towards each other. And there was a reason for that. Online conversations are not real. It's not real dating. However, it can be the first step to getting to know each other. Also, it's usually not a good idea to try and revive old relationships. Be it friendships or romantic relationships, it's better to resist the urge to dig up this person on Facebook and start talking to them again, because your relationship ended for some reason, and that's where you should leave it. The problem with trying to revive old relationships is our expectations. We hope this person stayed the same as we remember them, and at the same time we hope they changed for the better, matured, and now you will be able to overcome the difficulties in communication if they arise. There are exceptions, sure, but exceptions only prove that the rule is working. Nora and Hesun are very different in the way they responded to their second quote-unquote breakup. Nora was proactive. She did what was right for her. She didn't want to wait. Hesun didn't take any action or even show his intention to work things out, to somehow be with her in the end. He didn't realize that he was the cause of her ending their communication. She was clearly showing more interest in their meeting in real life than him. Yet he felt offended that she abruptly ended their calls and messages. For Hesun, Nora is the one who got away, and he created this image of her in his mind. She became his impossible love, who is somewhere far away. They cannot be together because of all the obstacles, he explains to himself. First it was distance, then it's her husband. But it's romantic for him. It's easier for him this way to live his life as a sad boy. Forget that he's almost 40. He's still a sad, cute boy who's not ready to marry his girlfriend of 12 years because there's Nora here in another country, in New York City, and he entertains himself with the idea that she is the one, she is his true love. Forget that he never came to see her before. That doesn't matter. They are meant for each other, okay? You just don't understand this kind of love. Truth is, he is the villain here in a way. Men like Hesun may not seem like the dangerous type, but they can ruin marriages. Dreamy, sad, insecure Hesuns can suddenly appear as good old friends from the past and start messing with your wives' heads. And on the outside, their behavior may seem so innocent, but it's not at all. Hesun is an immature, indecisive man who, even at 40, is not ready to take any responsibility. He likes to daydream and regret and feel hurt and misunderstood, and he wants others to feel sorry for him. Hesun comes to New York City on vacation. All of his friends react to his decision like any normal person would. It's weird. It's weird that he's taken this trip. It's weird that he's letting Nora know that he's going to be in New York. They are not good friends. They were close in childhood, then they were almost lovers. It's called having weird romantic history, not being childhood friends. Why would he come for her now when she's married? You guessed right. To create chaos in her head, to make her think that obstacles prevented them from being together, to plant the seed of regret in her mind, to make her think about him. By the way, is he ready to take her with him now? Of course not, but he wants to create this drama which is non-existent. Because remember, years ago, two people decided it wasn't worth the trouble to try and get into this relationship. But now he comes and asks her these stupid questions about past lives and leaves her crying. And he's not doing this intentionally. He doesn't realize he's doing it. He's not that intelligent to reflect on his actions. He's just doing it because he feels like it. It will give him food for thought. Another reason to feel sad all the time. Another excuse not to do anything great with his life. He'll clutch to this drama maybe for the rest of his life, explaining his idleness with this failed love story. Maybe some girl will find his sad face cute and fall in love with him and start taking care of him, not asking for anything in return, and he will still be so sad. Nora is happily married. She has a career, she's emotionally stable, yet she remembers that story that happened to her when she almost started dating her old childhood friend. She probably feels a bit hurt by this story, but unlike Hesun, she is a grown-up, and she knows it's silly to hold grudges and seriously think back on how things could have been. She's perfectly happy with her life, and when she receives Hesun's message saying that he's coming to New York, she can't imagine he's coming for her. She probably thinks he has some business to do or some other people to meet. She's being polite by accepting his invitation to hang out. Plus, she feels nostalgic about her old life in South Korea. And since her family still live in Canada, she misses them. And Hesun is someone who is the representation of her old life, her roots, her motherland. So in a way, she's excited to meet him. And she's being transparent with her husband about the whole situation. However, after seeing Hesun, after talking to him, she realizes he's actually come for her, and she openly tells her husband about it. They spend another day together, then she invites him to meet her husband. They can't talk to each other because Hesun doesn't speak English and her husband Arthur doesn't speak Korean. So Nora has to translate for them. At some point, they end up sitting in a bar very late and stop bothering to pay attention to Nora's husband. They speak to each other in Korean, and they remember their failed attempts at having a relationship. They talk about their regrets and how things could have worked out had they been together. They forget all about her husband, and it's so humiliating and disgusting of them to do this, so disrespectful. And in this moment, Nora is like under a spell, under Hesun's spell. She crosses the line, she lets Hesun too close, and he gets into her mind. In this moment, I was thinking only about Arthur, how sad and ridiculous and pathetic he looked, how humiliated he felt. If you think it's no big deal to put your spouse in a situation like this, well, you are so wrong. It hurts. It really hurts. It's like she's cheating right in front of him with another man. I was on Nora's side the whole time, but after this, I couldn't stand her. I know she doesn't really want to be with Hesun. I know she loves her husband, but she put her husband in this humiliating situation, and I hate her for it. What is worse, she then went to see Hesun off, leaving Arthur at home, and then she stood there with him listening to some cheesy nonsense Hesun had to say about past lives, blah blah blah, and then she cried in her husband's arms. She cried. What? Hesun crept into her soul and made her think about him. She was probably weak to let him do it. She had that weakness in her. She had those regrets maybe too. That's why she fell under his spell, I guess. She let him into her marriage, and it made a dent in her relationship with her husband. Arthur is a very gentle man, a writer. He feels things deeply. He'll probably never get over it, because Nora is his inspiration. He'll never leave her. He'll forgive her. He'll put his humiliation in a book, and that will be his therapy. But Nora, you didn't have to give your husband that kind of inspiration. That's all I have to say about this film. Thank you so much for watching, and let me know what were your thoughts. Did you feel sorry for Nora's husband, or did you secretly want Nora to leave her husband to be with Hesun? Let me know in the comments, please. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!